Welcome to the Think Small podcast, hypergrowth for small businesses. So, what's slowing you down?
Hello, everyone from the Think Small podcast community. I'm here today with Bill Kinnard. He is the president and CEO of Grady Associates. My name is Monica Dema of MD Inc. I am so excited to talk to Bill about what makes his business special, what his clients love about working with him, and so many more things. Welcome, Bill. Thank you for joining us for this podcast.
Thank you, Monica. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So can you tell us a little bit about Grandy and Associates and maybe how you came to become the president and CEO of this business?
Sure. My background is heating and cooling. I actually spent 22 years with a heating and cooling distributor covering the upper Midwest. And when you work for a wholesale distributor, part of your challenge, if you really think about it, your role is the middleman, right? Mm-hmm. Boxes in, boxes out. And so everything we did as a company, all the value add that we tried to offer was all there simply to facilitate boxes in, boxes out. Right, get our customers to buy stuff from us and pay us for it. And part of the challenge that I found over and over again, many of our customers were small companies, right? Just 1, 2, 3-man family-owned businesses. And so many of those individuals got into this because they like working with their hands and fixing things. And now all of a sudden, they're the leader of the company. And so, I know my craft, I just don't know the numbers side of the business. And so I started looking for ways, how can we help these companies understand their numbers better so they could be profitable and buy stuff from us and pay us for it. And with that, started looking for, I was working with companies one-on-one to help them, but there's only so much of me to go around. So I started looking for somebody out in the industry that could help me with that piece of the puzzle. And I came across Tom Grandy, our company's founder, initially, and it was kind of interesting, Monica, initially went down to Dallas, Texas to sit through he had a 3-day workshop. And evening number 2, I called my wife and told her, I don't know how, I don't know when, but at some point that man and I will work together. It was about 2 years later, I had hired him to come in and do several of these workshops for our contractors across our territory. And after that time frame, realized that was really what I wanted to do. And so resigned my position at the distributorship, joined Grandy Associates, and ultimately after about 8 or 9 years, bought the company from our company founder and relocated to Green Bay, Wisconsin, and we've been here ever since.
But it doesn't matter your physical location, right?
It really doesn't, because quite honestly, we work throughout the U.S. as well as the lower provinces of Canada. And so, while our offices might be located here, I've got other trainers and coaches who are located in other areas, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. And the only thing that changes is what airport we drive to go to work. Right. We spend a lot of time working in person with these small companies around the country, as well as doing stuff virtually, via Zoom or virtual formats as well.
Okay, so talk to me about the way you came to be on the virtual platform and what that's done for your business.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting one, right? Back in 2018, 2019, I was looking for a way to be home more. Because again, everything we did prior to that was in person. And I was at the 2018, I was in front of either groups or working with companies individually 280 days. I was coming home on Saturday, leaving on Sunday. I'd be home long enough to change out my suitcase and say hi to my wife for a quick moment, and I'd be off again. And that's not what I wanted. And so I was looking for a way to find out, could I do more of this virtually? And spent $1,200 using used equipment and put together a small studio in my office here in Green Bay. And at that point was teaching one class a month for contractors around the country out of that studio. And it was working. And then March of 2020 hit, right? And again, thinking that we made a living by getting on airplanes and getting together with groups of people, that posed a bit of a challenge. And as a small company ourselves, we lost 37% of our annual revenue in 4 days. Every time the phone rang, it wasn't, we want to cancel this one engagement. It's, we want to cancel every engagement we have with you for the next, a year. And so at that point, we really doubled down. And so it was either evolve or die. And so we figured out really how to not only make the studio and the virtual training work really well. We also have studios now in a trainer's home in Greenville, South Carolina, another one in Seattle, Washington, and we can run them all from here in our offices. The other thing, we look at that pandemic as being, there's so many things that weren't great that came out of it. On the other hand, there were some things, if you look for them, that were really positives. And even today, we do a lot of training out of the studio yet. I worked with, just last week, worked with a group of 5 companies, all small companies, helping them understand their numbers, working through that. That's a result of getting really good at that process through the pandemic.
That's fantastic. And can you describe a little bit of what makes you competitive in the industry that you're in? And where I'm going with this question is it a subscription model? Is it a licensing model? Is it a contract for 3, 5, 10 years? What can customers expect? And again, not from a sales perspective, but just what makes you uniquely different from a marketing perspective?
Sure. So first off, our model is, I'm not going to say all of the above, but many of the above. Right. So depending on what you're looking for, one of the big thing that makes us different really is outside of many of those items. We are not accountants, yet we are dealing with financial side of your company every day of the week. And so we're not talking the accountant language, right? So often company owners get to the end of the year and their accountant's telling them, well, you had a great year. Here's what you owe in taxes. And so many business owners are going, well, if I made that much money, where is it? Because it's certainly not in the checkbook, right? And so we can explain that process, and we do it from a layman's terms, right? Everything we're doing is we're explaining that difference between cash flow and accounting and how do I set my prices from that standpoint. But nowhere in there do we talk about the specific, many of the accountant language that even when I go to my accountant, right, they're talking to me in. We tend to be very blue collar, if you will. Yeah. If I can phrase that. And then from there, we're going to do what works best for our customers. In some cases, they want the on-demand self-paced training, right? Which is for us, it's a subscription-based model. The training that's out there. In other cases, we use our proprietary software to help them understand the number side of the business, but it's a tool simply to help us help them, right? So in some cases, if you want to subscribe to that, we have a subscription model available, and you can just grab the software and run with it, and we're okay with that. We'll help you out as you go along. If you're going to attend, if you learn better being led through the process, right? So our 2-day workshop, we literally walk them through it. And we've learned that if we bring somebody in, a small business owner in, number one, they're not used to sitting there in a classroom all day long, right? And so if we just have them come in, sit and listen to us for 2 days, after about hour number 1, they're already tuning out. And then on top of that, when they go home, they're going to go right back to being as busy as they were before they got here, and they're going to keep doing what they were doing. One of the things that we've learned is everything we talk about, for example, in that workshop, creating this financial model, you're going to have done before you leave.
Right.
So at the end of our 2 days, you already know your model's created. You know what your break-even rates are. You know what you need to be charging per hour. And so it's very much a workshop, very much hands-on at that point. And then, okay, you got the tool. We helped you create this model. We're going to I'm not looking to make money there, right? We're going to give you access to it for a period of time so you can work with it and use it and further your company. So it's kind of really all of those things depending on the situation and how my client wants to learn.
Right. And are there any scenarios where, beyond the in-person seminar or the seminars in general, where it's your time or your sales associate's time working with them as like a personal consultant or coach.
So that's okay. That's really, so the piece I didn't mention,
Yeah.
right? So even after that 2-day workshop, right? So last week worked with 5 companies. Later today, I have a one-on-one appointment with 2 of those companies, because again, not only will they get bored if I sit and talk to them for 2 days, they've gotten this deep into their numbers, maybe for the very first time in their company, and they're leaving there. And within the first 12 hours after leaving our workshop, they're going to come up with 30 more questions.
Right.
And so we just make it a point at this point. We're going to schedule, and I tell them before they leave, we're going to schedule a one-on-one session with you about a week from now or 2 weeks, right? Because that way I can deal with your questions individually.
Right.
What are the things that are completely unique to you that nobody else has to work with? And so that's, later today, I've got 2 different companies, 2 completely different business segments.
Mm-hmm.
One is a heating contractor. The other one owns a hair salon. We'll go through their companies and what are the questions that they came up with that are unique to them. And then from there, we do monthly coaching for companies that want to do that. Now, you asked a little bit earlier, how do we handle that? Is it a 3-year? Is it a 5-year contract? I hate contracts.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I use QuickBooks here in our company, and every time if I want to add somebody else to it, it's another license fee that I have to pay. I hate that.
Yeah.
Right? And so what we do is everything is month to month. Everything we do is, so if you want to engage, I'm going to say, let's go.
Right.
Right. And we'll start dealing with the issues that you see are most critical for your company. How do we step through those? But then what we're going to do is, if you say, okay, after 3 months, okay, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm okay with that. If you say, okay, I'd like to do this quarterly, just to make sure I'm online. We have a number of clients we meet with quarterly. I've got one client I'll be meeting with next week. I meet with them once a year. Yeah. And again, most of it is virtual like this. So that way we're not having to deal with travel and travel expenses and all the rest of that.
Right. I really resonate with your process through being so passionate about the business that you actually bought it. And then you pivoted, I hate that word, but I'm using it. You changed your trajectory when COVID hit, and you were able to tap into this unmet market or unmet demand, right? And you're able to help all of these people, and you're expanding in such an organic way. And you're not going from 0 to 80 in 1 month, right? You're going from 0 to 50 in 3 years, a safe pace of growth. So what does growth look like for you and your company in Grady Associates?
Yeah, so that's interesting, because I get into that discussion a lot with small business owners, right? They want to go out and they want to borrow a bunch of money to grow, right? And they want to use that debt for growth. And I tend to be, as an individual, as a in our home and as the leader of this business, I tend to be fairly debt averse.
Yeah.
Right? When the economy goes down, it's not if it slows down, it's when it slows down, right? It's those companies that are least leveraged that will tend to weather that storm the best. And especially for small companies, that's so critical. And so for us, growth is going to be organic. It's going to be slow. We are looking to really, in our case, if we can grow the subscription-based tools that we have, the on-demand training, the software platforms, some of those things, that will then help us, continue to do some of the other stuff we do. Our mission is we change lives, right? Because we know that if we can impact the company owner, right, and they become more profitable, it not only affects that owner's family, it impacts the family of every single person who works for that company. And so, really that's the focus. We want to still maintain as much as we can this one-on-one action that we're doing, the interaction with business owners. But we also know then that's a finite resource. Right. There's only so much of each coach that we have to go around. And so how can we multiply that? So that's where some of the recurring on-demand and online tools that we have available are trying to take some of that.
Okay, so here's the famous TSP question. What's holding you back?
Oh, that's interesting, right? For me, that's an easy one, right? And historically for our company, even going back to our company founder when I joined, it's marketing, right? Because the challenge that we have is we're helping companies who are struggling find profitability. Well, look at it from the other perspective. The company owners are going, I don't have any money. So how can I go ahead and hire somebody to help me with that piece of the puzzle? And so it's always getting that message out, right? How do we really help them understand that, yes, there is an investment to it, but it will pay for itself in the end. And so, getting that word out, telling the story in a way that many of these individuals who are struggling, trying to make it in their small business, how can it benefit them?
Right. And you, right?
Right.
Fantastic. So,
well, but so I'll throw a little bit in there, right, Monica? Right. It was Zig Ziglar who said, you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want. And I firmly believe that, right? If I can help small businesses understand their companies, we'll be taken care of.
Helpers will be helping and givers will be giving, right?
Right, without a doubt.
Amen. Awesome. Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with the TSP audience today?
I would just simply say for any small business owner out there, number one, if you are an entrepreneur, you have an opportunity to impact not only your family, but your community in a big way. And so hats off to you. The number one thing that you can do to help your business is understand your numbers inside and out, right? Whatever it takes to make that happen, understand your numbers. It will impact your company more than anything else in the long run.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Bill, for your time today. To our audience members, we'll have Bill's information website in the show notes. So please reach out to him if this is a business that you would like to patron. Thanks so much, Bill. Have a great day.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the Think Small podcast, hypergrowth for small businesses. So, what's slowing you down?